Hey friends, how's it going there today? So this is going to be a warm-up exercise lesson where I'm going to show you how to play this little riff. It came in by request. It's from the song Diamonds and Gasoline by the Turnpike Troubadours. I had never heard of this band before, but I've enjoyed listening to them since this request came in. Basically, here's the chord sheet I have for this lesson. Now I'm going to say this isn't teaching you that whole song. This is showing you a sort of riff, a warm-up exercise you can play inspired by what you hear in the intro to that song, throughout the verses to that song. It's some good stuff. It's going to combine basic walkdowns in the keys of C with a simplified F. We have an A minor in there and some G chords. So it's pretty common, approachable chords. I'm going to show you basically the two riffs I worked out here, number one, number two. The tab I have here is pretty standard and simple, right? But as I note, you can sort of add strumming to taste. So in this lesson, I'm going to show you some of the ways you can spice it up by adding a little bit more strumming. And if you're interested in just sort of getting some practice with your walkdowns, you know, and accenting those bass notes, this is a good one to work on. So let's get into it, right? Now what I want to do first is go through riff 1 and riff 2 both, and I'm going to show you just exactly how I have it tabbed out. You know, I'm not going to add any extra strumming and nuance to things. After I go through it once and show you the lay of the land, then I'll talk about ways you can go about spicing up the strumming, because the way I like to approach these warm-up exercises is to basically give you building blocks and then let you take those blocks and assemble them, you know, in different directions if you want, you know, to focus on certain skills or what have you. So first up, let's look at riff number 1 here. So off the bat here, we're looking at 4 different measures from left to right. You know, 1 measure of C, 1 measure of A minor, 1 measure of F, and then 1 measure of C. Now, as you see in the tab here on the far right, you have the first ending and second ending. What that means is you're going to play this whole thing twice, okay? The first time, you're going to end it with that C measure on the upper right. The second time you end it, you're going to end with that G measure. This basically prevents me from having to write the whole thing out, you know, and repeating myself. And this is a common sheet music sort of basically type of notation. You know, you have these 2 dots on the right, which sort of mean repeat, you know, repeat that bar. And first ending and second ending are a very common sort of thing you'll see in lots of sheet music. So let's play through this once and I'll explain what's going on here. So it's basically going to sound like this, right? So starting on the C, so repeat it, walk it down to the A minor, to the F, and this time to the G. Okay? Now, later on, I'll show you how you can combine that into riff 2, right? You can basically take what I just ended and keep going into riff 2. But let's stop here and just look at riff 1. So again, we're looking at a C. We're going to walk this C down. So that second half of the first measure is going to be basically putting our middle finger down on the 2nd fret of the 5th string, right? In the middle 2 strings are open, and then we go to an A minor, right? Then the F, all we're going to play for the F is the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th strings. Whoops. Right, with ring, middle, and index finger on our left hand, right? This is a very approachable way to do an F, and we're going to just sort of localize our strum to that 2nd, 3rd, and 4th strings, right? And we're going to end with that C in the final measure, right? And then, again, the second time we play it, we're going to end with this G, and we're only really going to play the bottom 4 strings or so. So one of the general skills here this exercise is going to sort of teach you is to play these chords, but not necessarily play all the strings that are normally used in the chords. For example, I'm not playing all 5 strings of the C or the A minor. I'm not playing all 6 strings of the F or 6 strings of the G. Now, again, you could do this if you want to work it into the spirit of this warm-up exercise, but I'm keeping it nice and simple here. So let's go through this nice and slow again. So it's a C, 1, 2, 3, 4, A minor, right? And the F, and the C. Now that C is going to have a hammer on, and if you can't do that, let me explain how you might go about it in case it's something you're interested in learning. Basically, on the 3 count and the 3 end count, we're going to pluck the open D string, right? Pluck it once, and then we're going to bring our middle finger down. So I'm only plucking once with my right hand, but I'm getting 2 different notes that sound from the guitar by virtue of hammering on firmly and quickly, right? If you can't hammer on, then you can basically pluck twice, and that would sound, you know. And after you hammer it on, keep it down, and then you're going to strum the second, third, and fourth string to give you another strum of the C chord there, all right? So a nice way to approach learning this is don't do the walk downs as individual picks. You can just do full strums like this, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? Maybe you find it easier or harder to do that. So do whatever's easier for you. And the one thing I'll say is if you know the Turnpike Troubadours song, the notes I have circled here on the third string, that's going to be the note that they sort of accent. Here's what that's going to sound like if you really do that. Okay, you might recognize that from the album version of that song. So that's going to be the first riff. Again, the second time we play it, we're going to end with this G ending. Very similar to the C ending, in that we're going to have the hammer-on the 3 and the 3 and count. That hammer-on is going to be on the 5th string though. So that's going to be riff 1. And then really quickly, let's look at riff 2, because it's very, very similar here. Now we're basically going to be going from an F, stay on the F, and go down to a C, hammer-on, and then walk down the F to an A minor. And repeat that, F to C, hammer on, G, and walk up slow. Okay? So now let me play riff 1, and I'll play that into riff 2, and I'm just going to use exactly what I have tabbed out here. I'm not going to do any extra strumming yet, okay? That would sound like this. Repeat, riff 1. Riff 2. Repeat it. And end it with the G. And walk it up to riff 1. Okay, right? So that's basically how you can go about following this exact tab. You're not really going to do any strumming really. It's just all down strums on the count, on the quarter notes. You know, 1, 2, 3, 4, and you just follow exactly along with the tab, and that'll give you what you need here, right? Now, in this next part of the lesson, I want to talk a little bit about strumming and how you can keep your right hand moving a bit more loosely and organically. So the first thing I'll say is if you listen to the actual album version of this song, you're going to get a sound that sounds a little bit more like this for the beginning, right? It's a down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, down. And we're going to use this on a C chord, and we're just going to stay on that C for a bit and get used to things before we go into the actual riff, right? So this tab I have here, what's going on is on the 1 count, I'm plucking just the bass note. And on the 2 and the and 4 and, I'm strumming the, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th strings, and also the high E string if you want. You totally can do that too. So 1, 2, and 4, and 1, 2, and 4, and 1, 2, and 4, and 1, 2. All right, down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, 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 up, down, down. So I share that as something you can work on before you get into the riff itself. Now, for the riff itself, how I would approach filling out the strumming a bit is to take what I have tabbed out here, and on the 2 and the 4 counts, like whenever you're strumming multiple strings, try to bring up on the up strum right after it, on that 8th note, try to bring your pick up and sort of grab some of the strings, right? So if I just stay on the first 2 measures and I walk down from C to A minor, do it again. Down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, up. So in the A minor, I'm basically repeating that strumming pattern I already showed you, the down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up. Because I'm staying on the A minor, this is a nice strumming pattern to do. But when you're walking it down, you really just want to do a down, down, up, down, down, up. And on the first, the 1 count and the 3 count, we just want to grab the bass note. Right? So down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, up. Okay? And you can sort of repeat that for the entire song, basically. Is whenever we're walking down, we want to add the extra up strum right after the 3 or 4 note strum. Okay, in riff 2, same idea. Whoops. Okay, so there we basically have it. That's a nice way to sort of add more complex strumming, but using this tab as the foundation. And again, with strumming, I recommend you just sort of do what works for you. Don't feel like you have to do this, but if you want to go even further and mix things up yourself, you can do that as well. So, that's going to be it for this little warm-up exercise. Again, get the PDF at my website, playsongnotes.com. It is a great one to have. I like that it's using C, A, F, and G, very common chords, but it's keeping things simple. There's no bar chords involved. We're not really playing we're playing a very simple version of the F. We do have some nice hammer-ons if you want to do those, but you can either follow the tab, whoops, or you can add more complex strumming. And hopefully you'll be good to go. So thanks for sending this request in, and I hope you're enjoying these sorts of warm-up exercises. I know a lot of you have asked for similar warm-up exercises that combine these sort of walk-down techniques, and this is one that I put together for you. Having heard this song, it got caught in my head, and I'm happy to share it with you here. So thanks for watching, y'all. Pick up your guitar, play, have fun. Let me know what questions you have, comments, requests, suggestions, all that sort of stuff. Always happy to hear them. This has been David Potts with Song Notes. Until next time, my friends, take care. Bye-bye.